Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and now radio. It's official as of last week. We're so excited to be on 3 different radio platforms, which I'll be sharing that information in the comments a little bit later. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is Authentic Achievements. And joining me this and every week about this exciting topic where we feature people from around the world sharing their achievements is someone who is very accomplished herself. Her name is KIM-ADELE RANDALL, and she's joining us from the UK. Let's bring her out and talk about what she's been doing. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Dr. JACALYN. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. It's a beautiful sunny day here. I don't know about you, and that always has to brighten your mood, doesn't it?
It's so true. It is absolutely magnificent here in Florida. When I woke up, it was dreary and I thought it was going to be raining all day, but I'm behind the green screen anyway. So there's always sunshine here in my heart whenever's going on outside. But Kim, we've got a great guest backstage. But before we bring him out, as always, I want to spotlight you because you've had quite a career yourself. There was a pivotal moment in your life, and you also created something called Imposter Syndrome Day?
Yes, which was actually this week on Wednesday, so International Imposter Syndrome Awareness Day, to help people that suffer, like I did for many years, with those feelings of being a fraud, to actually say, talk about it. You know, you're not a fraud, you are enough, and you can learn to move past it and turn your inner critic into your inner cheerleader, which is what we all need, isn't it?
Definitely. We all need to be our own cheerleader for sure. So Kim, for people joining us for the first time or people listening on the radio for the first time, can you share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, of course. So I had an unusual start to my career. I started off as a hairdresser, and then following my first illness, I had to give that up and retrain. And I didn't really know what to do. So I got a temporary contract as a cashier in a bank and spent the next nearly 30 years working in financial services. I worked my way up to board level, and I was convinced that people were going to find out I was a hairdresser and turf me off the board and go, what are we doing? She shouldn't be there. So I understand what it's like to have that crippling self-doubt. And then I had my little girl late in life, had another couple of illnesses, potentially life-threatening, and made some changes. So retrained to be a coach. I'm a qualified face whisperer. And that's what really got me into what I'm doing now. So I'm in the process of writing my 6th book, which is called Authentic Achievements. And that's what led to the show, which was basically to interview people from around the world to share their experiences of how they've achieved their authentic goals, how they brought themselves to the party, and learnt to be confident and comfortable with who they were and the part they had to play in the world.
That's really beautiful, Kim. Thank you so much. And it takes a certain amount of internal fortitude and courage to come forward and share this story publicly, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, for years, I really struggled with not wanting anybody to see the weakness. And, you know, vulnerability, I was always taught in my career, never show your vulnerability. And yet what I realize now is that my vulnerability is my superpower, because we're all vulnerable about something. We all have the something we hope nobody will find out, that they hope they're never going to notice. And yet actually, once you share it, what you do is you create a space where people can share theirs, and together we grow. And, you know, my biggest fear in life is that I ever do anything that's going to upset or offend or embarrass my little girl. But actually, what I also want her to do is realize it's okay to make mistakes. It's not the mistake that defines us. It's what we do with the mistake. And standing in front of it and saying, you know, yeah, I got it wrong. I have got lots of things wrong in my life, but I've learned from them, and they've made me stronger. And actually, you know, I say to people, I'm proud of the person I've become, because I went through one hell of a journey to get here. And all of it has been positive, but all of it has helped me be who I am and learn to be kinder to myself as well as others. I used to be kind outwardly, but never inwardly. And that's not a great place to live either.
Well, congratulations on this incredible journey and your progress. And that's really what brought us together, I feel. And now we're helping other people share their stories. So we've got Mark V. Smith, that's a V, Smith backstage. Do you want to do an intro for him?
Absolutely. So we are joined today by the fabulous Mark V. Smith, who's curator of A Bigger Vision Within. And one of the things that I love is part of one of his vision statements is your why is greater than your situation, which is part of your process. And I guess for me, that really resonated because, you know, I'm the epitome of having been the sum total of the experiences of my life, some of which at the time didn't feel like they were actually going in my benefit. But what I now realize is everything in life is a lesson, a blessing, or both, even if you don't feel like it at the time. And that really is what Mark's message is all around, is to trust that actually today isn't forever. It's not a life sentence. But let me bring Mark out and he can explain it so much more eloquently than I can.
Welcome to the show, Mark. It's nice
Good
to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline. Good morning, Kim. How's everybody doing today?
Great, thank you. How are you?
It's beautiful. I agree. I was listening to you backstage, and yeah, it's a sunshiny day here in Maryland, so I can't complain. We went from traditional downpours the other day to nice and sunshiny. So when we get done today, I know my wife is telling me I got to get outside and take care of that yard work. So we can take our time.
I love it.
And we also want to acknowledge today is Good Friday. So for all of those around the world who observe, we just want to wish you a beautiful day. So Mark, you heard Kim's introduction, and I think we really want to start off with what does it mean to be a curator?
A visionary. Somebody who doesn't see just what's in front of them. You know, first, I do applaud. First, let me get out there, Kim. I do applaud your story. I applaud your resiliency. I applaud the fact that that you're not going to let anything stop your way. You know, so many times we think a obstacle is just that, but an obstacle is really an opportunity. And I'm going to talk about that in the acronym that I wrote regarding that as well. So I as well, I started off in with a humble beginning. Both parents were working very well. I'm an only child, so I didn't have any brothers and sisters, but had plenty of relatives, cousins around me. But I still felt alone, you know, throughout my journey through life. And I always felt that I needed to be a part of. Not that I stand on my own. I was in the realm of where I needed to please other people. And one day it hit me and I said that, you know what, Mark, you have to get to the point to where you cannot just see, you really have a vision. And I think that's what a lot of people fail. They get hung up on just what they see versus the vision beyond what they see. And we have to get to a point to where we truly believe in ourselves enough to say that, wait a minute, what we're seeing right now is not the end all be all. We still have some work to do. We still have some resiliency that is always in us, because let's, be quite honest. The track record of us getting through things is 100%. There's not any one of us that are sitting here and or listening has not gone through anything and have gotten through it. We may not have gotten through it the way that we thought we would get through it, but we got through it. And that's the most important thing right now, to understand that you are always going to have an opportunity to get through things. Everything that you go through is not a test. It's actually developing you for something better. So a curator is just believing that there's a vision far beyond what we can see, and we just have to harness it and embrace it no matter what it is.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And something that came to mind, I've heard people say, and I might have even said it sometime in my life, that I'm being punished. That's why this is happening, whatever this is. I've been personally selected to be punished for something. What are your thoughts on that? I'm going to start with Mark.
I say it's growth. It really is. It's not being punished. And I wrote the series of processes, which again we'll talk about, I'm sure. And I said I want to do something different. And by doing something different is, I know that I've heard speakers, we've all went and heard speakers before, and they give us a powerful message and it resonates for the moment. And I said that I still wanted to be able to impact the individuals and impact the world in not only just speaking, but giving them something a little different. And I said, so in 2018, I said, well, when I created this, I'm going to do this a little bit different. dare to be different, right? I played it so close to the vest all my life and worried about what other people think. So I said, I'm going to use acronyms to do it and make so it can be applicable in anything and everything people do in life. So when we talk about woe is me or why did this happen to me, I wrote that acronym and I said that's part of growth. And growth stands for a gradual reminder obstacles will test hope. At that particular point in our time, in our life, in that time, when we're thinking, woe is me, when we're thinking that things are crashing down on us, this is something that's stopping us right there in those tracks, right there to say, wait a minute, let's pause for a second. Let's give some time to get yourself together. Let's make some valuable choices and decisions as you not go forward, as you grow forward to get to the next level where you're called to be. So I just encourage everybody to, when you get those, I used to be like that. Honestly, you know, I can't be hypocritical or anything like that. I did live a life like that, to where when things went awry, I got depressed, I got agitated, I got, you know, flat out angry and questioned, why was this happening to me? But as I got older, I realized, wait a minute, these are blessings. These are blessings that are coming to me saying, Mark, you're being challenged right now to improve who you are. And I've created an adage, and I always talk about it before, is, you know, the fact of the matter, quite frankly, Dr. JACALYN and him, is most people don't change to the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And that took a while for me to really embrace that. So I would encourage everybody, welcome the uncomfortability. It's good. It's going to really help you step out and be the best that you could be at the end of the day. And it's going to allow you to help somebody else along the way.
I love that, Mark. That is fantastic. Well said. Kim, would you like to add anything to that?
I so resonates, because I think, you know, the only thing greater than fear is hope. And if we can find the hope, and I loved your piece that said, we get through this. I often say to people, you know, you survived 100% of the challenges life's thrown at you. That's one heck of a batting average. So if I were you, I would trust yourself that you can do it again. And you know, one of the things that I've learned is that we grow through our pain only if we go through our pain. We actually have to understand it, embrace it, acknowledge it, and then work out, what's it teaching us? What is it that I'm supposed to be growing from out of this? And you come out the other side stronger, even if in the moment. I remember one of my lowest and most melodramatic moments, thinking I didn't know how to breathe, and clearly I do know how to breathe, and I'm still here breathing. But at the time, I was so lost, I was so broken, that I didn't know how to do that, until I found something greater than my pain. And at that time, it was my little girl, who was 1 and was upstairs. And I was like, she needs you to get off the floor, off the kitchen floor, brush yourself down and go and feed her, and stop being so melodramatic. And then eventually, you know, we're 4.5 years on, and actually you've become a much stronger person as a result of it. So I think sometimes it's finding that thing, isn't it, that you can cling to, that gives you that hope, that gives you the reason to keep going, that's stronger than whatever it is that you're facing right now. Is there any advice you can give to us and to our listeners about how you help do that when you're in those moments of despair?
I think you hit it right on the head. You have to think beyond you. When we get in those moments to where we have that, I like to say that self-reflection, because again, we have to look at ourselves. I always go back to something that I talked about, that is like a baseline, and that is I ask myself 4 questions. 1, am I being accountable? Right? I can say that, you know, this is a bad situation, this is a tough situation, but am I accountable to myself and those that love me? Because, you know, sometimes we may not feel that we're being loved, but somebody's rooting for us. I don't care who you are. You've got somebody that's a champion and rooting for you. And although a lot of times we may not hear it from them, we still need to keep in fact and say, wait a minute, I am stronger, and I'm put in this situation because I am challenged to be the best that I could be. So I said accountable. Second one is you need to have integrity. Man, it's so easy when you're feeling rock bottom, feeling at the floor of life, and the mindset comes to, I can take the easy way out, right? I can check out, or I can go do something that's senseless because nobody really cares. But we all know that integrity is doing what you're supposed to do, even when nobody's watching. So you got to lift yourself up. The next step I say is responsibility, because we all have a responsibility. Anybody that we have come in contact with, We are now become responsible for that. I'm responsible for both of you ladies today because of our interaction. So what you go through, I go through. And I'm responsible for helping lift you up if there is a time or an opportunity for me to help lift you up. And the last thing I think we have to keep in mind in that fourth element is respect, right? We have to get back to the point to where we respect ourselves enough to get up. We have to realize that we are born here and we're unique, right? Everybody, people talk about purpose. What is your purpose? You are purpose. You're uniquely designed. Nobody's going to be like you. You're here for a reason. So respect yourself enough to take a pause. Take that time to get yourself together and make sure that you're able to breathe. And that breathe is that acronym that I just gave you: accountability, integrity, responsibility, and respect. That's AIR with the extra R at the end. So that is that baseline of where you need to go and what you potentially can think about when you are at that place in your life that you feel you need that extra boost.
Brilliant. I think you really summed it up so well. And a couple things I want to add. We can all think of people, and no judgment, just observations, people that we've known in the past, and maybe he or she has the exact same hairstyle. They're living in the same town. They never branched out. And then there are other people that, it's like, whoa, they changed their entire life. They said, hey, let me walk through this door and see what's going to happen. What do you think the difference is between the first person and the second person? Is it fear? Is it lack of confidence? Or is it just being happy with the way things are because that's how it's been in your family for generations? Any comments, Mark?
Comfort is a casualty of growth. And we, if you allow yourself to be stuck in that element, then that's all you're going to get. And it's sad. And again, I can't speak from a negative if I would have, should have, could have point in my life. I have to say, or had to say at some point, that I had to get out of my comfort zone. I lived in Columbus, Ohio, but that's my hometown. I lived in Columbus, Ohio for over 30 years before I actually ventured out. I played it safe. It was a place that was, my mom was there, my dad was there, all my family was there, but yet and still I needed to grow. And you use the word fear. And for those of you now get it, I'm big on acronyms. Fear is false evidence appearing real. So I didn't even think about what was out there. You see the world from one picture, and then you just embrace that and say it's nothing more than what you see right here. So I definitely would encourage everybody to experience. You can't fail. You don't fail. You learn. Right? Anytime that you have an opportunity to experience something, experience it, because at the end of the day, these are memories that you're creating. And life is about memories. There's some great memories that I've had. There's some not so great memories that I have. But I tell you what, I've learned just as much in those not so great memories from taking opportunities and chances than I have from having some of the most ecstatic times in my life. So I would just say, experience life, live life to the fullest, because no day is promised. And Les Brown once said, the place that where most dreams are located, the most money that was ever made or were potentially not made, the cures for everything in this world is the graveyard, because that's where most people let their dreams go. They never enacted on them. They never trusted themselves enough to go out there and try to get it done. So I would, again, I'm not that type of person who waits anymore. I took a challenge on, started public speaking and speaking back in 2018 after I lost my job. I got comfortable, right? I got comfortable, which became a casualty of my growth, but it opened the door for so many other opportunities for me that it wouldn't have happened had this situation happened to me. And the fact that I decided no more, I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm going to be accountable, integrity, responsible, and have respect.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm so just proud of what you just shared here, that even though you lost your job, you could have just been doom and gloom. And no, you picked yourself up and you reinvented yourself. And look at you today, expert public speaker that you are. So I think that's amazing. When you were talking, I had a flashback of a memory that I haven't thought about literally in decades. I decided to go water skiing, even though I was terrified. And I remember I I stood up. I was able to get up. And then when I got up, I thought, what am I supposed to do now? So I let go. And I always thought of it as a failure. And for some reason, when you were talking, it just popped into my head. And I realized, no, that wasn't a failure. It might sound like a funny thing to even bring up, but I took the opportunity to experience something new. And I will always know what that was like to stand up and look around. So I think the point is to people out there watching and listening, if you don't take that opportunity to stand up and see what is around you, you're missing it. You're missing the whole point.
Absolutely. And we have to step outside that comfort zone sometimes. It's okay to be, and I talk a lot to individuals here in our area and nationally. It's okay to be uncomfortable. You know, change is hard at first, it's messy in the middle, but it's rewarding in the end. So don't be afraid of that change, because I said it before. Most people don't change till the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change. That's when you get that proverbial kick in the behind, and I got that kick in the behind. When I lost my job, when I lost my father, when I went through a divorce, all these things happened in a seemed like a sequential areas of envelopments in my life. And I went through a period of time, like you talked about before, Kim. I went through a period of time in my life where I was like, why am I doing this? What is the purpose? What is there to fight for anymore? But then I had to remember, just as you talked about, I had that vision of one day I'm gonna have grandbabies, and my grandbabies, I want them to remember me as a leader. I want to set the stage and set the goal right now that says that they're going to see their grandfather, aka Poppy, see me as as one that continues to persevere, and someone that they can always know when they look at me, they'll have a great big smile on their face and saying, hey, I know my grandfather persevered. I know my grandfather thought it was rough, but I know I can go to talk to him now because he has been through it. And that's the same things that I talk about when I go speak to individuals, that you are truly bigger than your circumstance. This is not going to be the end. Whatever you're going through, whatever it is, we've all gone through it. It may not have been the same exact thing, but we're here today to talk about it. So let's talk about it and find out what we need to do to get through, because we all go through to get through. And that, again, is what I call the process.
Thank you, Mark. I think it's so important that the three of us are brought here. I always feel like there's a reason how it's with this co-host on this show, and I'm really happy that you're part of our USA Global TV and radio family. Thank you. And I want to share also that every day, even though I've been doing this, I left my corporate career to be a life coach. And from there, I'm doing this. And every day I'm uncomfortable, every day, because I have to run all this equipment. I have to focus on the guests, and I never know what's going to happen, but I love it. It's just such sometimes I'm sweating, there's sweat dripping down my back because I'm nervous but I don't care. I show up because it's just this passion that I feel has been my calling. And I feel like that's where you two are in your lives as well.
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, which is a Pablo Picasso one, which said that the meaning of life is to find your gift and the purpose of life is to give it away. And I think that is what we're here to do. We're here to find what is our gift, and then we're here to share that to help other people, because if sharing our pain and how we came through it can help somebody else see a way out of their pain, then it's worth taking the risk, isn't it? And being vulnerable and allowing people to see that other side. And I love that has come through so eloquently, Mark, in what you've been saying, which is, if we keep learning from it. And, I wrote this about my little girl, but I believe it to be true of all of us. I always say, believe in yourself, darling, because you are proof that miracles happen. And we're all of us proof that miracles happen to somebody. There is always somebody on our side. And I think you made some great points, Mark, about the fact that it's about perspective, isn't it? We give ourselves a label, and dependent on that label depends on how we show up. I've lived in 36 houses since I left home at 21, which you could say I've got itchy feet. And I used to think I was that people thought I was flighty and a little bit stupid. But when I talk to my friends, they think I was brave and fearless, because I would literally up sticks and move around. And yet, same situation, same individuals, but we had a totally different perspective on whether or not it was brave or stupid where they were heading to. So do you see that in the people that you're helping, that you're working with, which is, if you can help them change their perspective, you can help them change their outcome?
I truly believe it's mindset. It's what it's not so much what, again, I go back to, it's not what we see. Some people can see, but not many have vision. So I'm challenged to take that, what they see, into a vision, so they're able to embrace it, have something to look forward to every single day. Know that every single day that they get up, when they look in their mirror, then they have that opportunity to truly feel good about themselves and see the progress. But also remind them that they are baby steps, right? We didn't get ourselves in the rut or the mess that we get ourselves into overnight. It's not a overnight decision that causes this. It's a continuous pattern. And we have to accept that we did it. Well, number one, we have to accept that sometimes we do these things to ourselves, right? And then we got to take accountability to that sometimes we are the catalyst of our own demise. We also have the power to remove that demise out of our life and be successful the way that we truly want to be successful. So again, I see it. And I feel I'm charged to every single day. My grandfather used to tell me all the time, son, when you walk out that house, you have an option. You can leave people bitter, or you can leave people better. That's totally on you. But how you want to live with yourself if you're leaving them bitter? So I always remember that, because in my early life, I like to say I lived transactional. As I got older, I lived transformational, because again, it's not so much what can you do for me, it's what can I do for you? How can I extend myself to you? What words can I give to you? What just sitting there listening, what devices can I give to you to help you get through what you're going through right now? What acronym can I share with you? What reading can I share with you to help you get through your day? Because if you get through this day, guess what? The likelihood of you getting up tomorrow to get through the next day is very, very high. So it's truly about leaving them with a opportunity to know that those small steps that they're making are really huge steps in their life of progression and moving forward and getting out of stagnation. Because we got to do it. We just all have to work together to make sure that we are sharing a message for everybody to do it as well.
Mark, that's brilliant. I just love what you're sharing, and I love your whole attitude and the passion that you have. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I'd love to have you weigh in on what I'm about to share. You talked about there's always someone for us, right? Kim, you said the same thing. There's someone supportive of us. And in my experience, when I started this platform, most people were not supportive, but there were people I didn't even know who were out there who reached out to me and lifted me up. And that's what I'd love to talk about. It's not just our immediate circle. It's not just Steve and Bob and Sue that we know for all these years. There are people out there who are in support of you and want to lift you up. Like Mark, what you just shared, you've come to this platform saying that you're here for Kim, you're here for me to help lift us up as we are for you. And that's what it's all about. So I'd love to talk about that as a community, a global community, how we can be there for one another.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a short break and hear from some of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter. Its powerful theme that we're each of us different, yet all of us the same, plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at dianefloydboehm.com. Visit dianefloydboehm.com. That's dianefloydboehm.com.
Take a moment.
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 So I've had the privilege of photographing some incredible people over the years, and during each shoot I've asked the subject to close their eyes and take themselves to a peaceful place just for a few seconds. I've found that this really helps to refresh the energy between the camera and the subject. They had an energy that was quite special and quite different from the rest of the shoot. The collection grew, and now it feels the right time to use it for something good. I think it'd be amazing if we could help to raise awareness and involve people in the discussion about mental health. So what we're asking to do is for everyone to upload their own self-portraits. All of these portraits will become part of a massive artwork. I'm really excited to see this project go from hundreds of pictures to thousands of pictures. Essentially, an ever-evolving artwork that says we're all in this together.
Close your eyes and take a moment.
Funny. It was not funny. It's sad that I had a lot of blinders on, and I didn't recognize a lot of the impact that they had until I got older. And I talked about my very first football coach, my Little League football coach, John Mollison, and how he talked to us about, and we're 9 years old, how he didn't talk to us so much about X's and O's. He talked to us about what it's like to be a father, what it's like to be a man, what is our responsibility in the community when we get older. Didn't get it then, but got it now. And I talk about my high school principals, Miss Liggins, who always told us that on time means you're late. You know, don't do anything. How you do anything is everything. And these types of messages that stick with you, and some of the things that she said when she got on stage that I didn't understand then, that I get now. And then I talk about my very first job when I worked at for an organization called the Youth Conservation Corps. Right, we were at task. You had to be selected to go big to clear out a park. So I worked there at 16 years old. And my job, along with somebody else's job, we were to make a path, a walking trail path for individuals for a park to eventually come to fruition. And I thought about, you know, us being charged to do that over and over in my life. And I realized that what I was doing then was doing the same thing that a lot of us have to do now. You know, we have to clear a path of life and clear a path of progression. And in clearing that path of progression, we have to remove things physically. You know, you talked about earlier about your influences. And I admit, you know, some people have circles of influence. Coming up, I had a cage. I didn't have a circle. I identified those individuals as cages because they didn't want to see me be successful. But more importantly, I allowed myself not to be successful. I bought into those types of things. So it's going to take all of us collectively to remember those people who impacted us, those leaders, those individuals, those leaders that exemplify greatness among choices over the years. That is us now, because the choices and the decisions and the conversations that we have today with individuals need to be impactful. We need to talk to them more and more about unity, what it's like to get this country and get the world back to where it truly is called to be. We need not to be afraid to correct somebody when they're making a mistake, you know, because the fact of the matter is we all are in charge of raising our youth. And you and I, and none of us here, we may not see this progression. We will see the progression. Let me stop there. We'll see the progression. We may not see the fruits of all of our hard work and all of our dedication in our lifetime, but our great grandbabies are depending on us to make a difference. So that's why I always close all my messages or anything that I use hashtag legacy changing actions in 2022 and beyond. It's time that we stop talking about it. It's time that we stop playing this game of saying it's okay. It's time that we not say that old adage, not my monkey, not my circus, because it is all of our situation. It is all of our problem. It's time for all of us to come together, have dialogue about it, and figure out what we can do to make this world a better place. So it's our responsibility. We are truly want to be leaders to create that legacy.
Well said. I definitely agree with you. Kim, would you like to add something?
Absolutely. I love it. It's so resonated because I think, you know, one of the things that I've learned it more becoming a parent. So it really resonated with me when you say people gave you these messages and you didn't get them at the time, and then you get them much later on, don't you? I've suddenly realized, you know, you look at people, little kids, you know, if I said to any one of us here that tomorrow morning when you wake up, you're going to have to learn how to walk or talk or run or jump or skip, you'd be overwhelmed. We'd all be overwhelmed. And yet at our most vulnerable, we learned it. And it made me wonder, why is that? And I think it's because a couple of things. One, we want to be the same as everybody else. You can do it. I want to do it. Two, we don't really know how to say no and really mean it. Even a toddler tantrum runs out of steam eventually. It doesn't feel like it at the time. But the third, and perhaps for me the most important one, is I've yet to see somebody learning to walk that doesn't have at least one adult nearby going, come on, you've got this. We quite literally give people our belief. And we trust them. And, you know, I now try and say to my little girl, you know, we're all learning in life, darling. I'm learning, you're learning. We get things wrong. But as long as we learn from what we got wrong, then we're going to get better. Because I think we do sometimes hold people back, but it's not because we don't want them to succeed. It's because we don't want them to fail. And yet, actually, what if we believed that they could fly instead of believing that they could fall, and give them that belief in themselves for those moments where they don't have it in themselves. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, isn't it? How we share those beliefs, how we lift each other up, and how we allow people to be able to fail and not feel like they're never going to get up from that, that actually it just is going to be the springboard to the next part of their life, to the next opportunity to grow. And I think that's something that, who wouldn't want to be part of that, to help us all end up being better as a sum of the parts being greater than the sum of the individuals. I love the message. It's great.
I also feel, and I'd love to have your thoughts on this. I feel like because we've all gone through this pandemic, it's it's not his problem, her problem. We're not talking about that. We're not talking. No, let's talk about all of it, and it's all of our opportunity to come together, and that's what this platform is about. And I'm so happy to see how much it's grown with people from all over the world. It's someone in another country is going through the same thing that I'm going through, that you're going through, and now because we went through the pandemic, I really feel like was the foundation block to help us come together as a global community.
It truly was. I mean, without question, it's devastating. It's devastating what happened. It's devastating what continues to happen. But it really set the stage for us to wait a minute. It's all of our problems. It's all of our issues. We all are going through the same plight. We all are having to retrain our minds. We all have to reinvent ourselves. We all have to pivot from doing things one way to another way. I mean, I had just went back to a training opportunity contract that I said I would take, and 3 days later, at 3 days after I started it, the pandemic hit and it shut down. And I was fortunate enough to where, they came to me while we were shut down and asked me to go ahead and would I be capable enough to digitize, to take what this individual training and make it virtual and make it online. And that's what I did. So the organization didn't skip a beat. However, it was taxing. It was a unique for me because I had never in my life worked telework, to work from home. I'm a people person. I wanted to get there. I wanted to shake your hand. I wanted to say hello, give you a big hug, tell you it's going to be okay. Work through this. We're going to talk about it and go through everything like that. So this was a huge paradigm shift for me. And I'm just going to say I learned a lot about Mark. I did. That's number one. Number two, I learned there were some limitations that I put on myself that I shouldn't have done. So again, we talk about we're always growing, right? We got to accept that there's areas, not weaknesses, areas of opportunity. So I had to accept the fact that I was growing and I needed it. So it did a lot for me as well. It bolstered a lot of opportunity for me as well. And also I've seen a lot of people do some amazing things over this pandemic that they probably wouldn't have done it before. And these platforms like we're on right now, I mean, we probably may not have came in contact with each other had it not been for the pandemic to create a platform like you have right here now that allows us to interact all across the globe to share a common message that's going to help somebody move into the right direction. So it's been great. It truly has been great on my account.
Well, thank you for sharing that because you were all set to do something, and then out of your control, the pandemic hits, and now you're not able to do the training the way that you thought you were going to be doing it. I know my last paycheck from my corporate job was March the 6th, 2020. And I was all excited. I was going to just take my certification as a life coach. I already had clients. Then nobody could pay me. And I got certified to teach yoga, meditation. No one could pay me. So I was doing all these things for free. And I was thinking, wait a minute. Just a little while ago, everything was great. And I had to live off my savings for over a year to get to where I am now. But had that not happened, I would still be doing the same, like taking the paycheck every week, and I'm glad that I went out and did what I did because I'm thrilled with where we are today. And the same thing for you, Mark, and the same thing for you, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Mother Nature is a fascinating way of helping us take pause. And we were all forced into pause, weren't we? Like the whole world was forced into pause. And it really struck me that, we say we all have 2020 vision with hindsight, and smack bang in the center of 2020, we were forced to pause and reflect. And I think what it did was help us appreciate each other more. People became a lot more accepting. If you, my little girl, bless her, was in all of the time, often dressed as Elsa, just plonks herself on the middle of meetings. And if that had happened pre-2020, it'd have been devastating. It'd have been shooing her out as quickly as possible. But people accepted that we'd all been thrown into having to work at home, having to connect in platforms like this, having to deal with the fact that life's not perfect. It isn't airbrushed and lovely. It is messy, and and chaotic at times, but that's how we grow. And I think that really helped us to have that moment to reflect and say, what can we do differently? How can we help each other? And it made us realize what we appreciate. I often laugh at my brother, who I adore, always dreaded the fact that, I was going to hug him every time I saw him. And in the middle of lockdown, when we weren't allowed to, he went, I said, I've spent 46 years dreading the fact you're going to hug me, and now I'd pay money to have you hug me. And I was like, that's all I needed was a global pandemic to get him to do what I wanted to. But I think it made us all take pause of what's really important and connecting with each other and giving everybody a feeling of increase, because we get that, don't we? We get that energy uplift from being with other people, from sharing an experience, a situation, a connection. And I think that helped us to see just how much of an impact we can have for good if we step into it, if we push ourselves out of our comfort zone, if we get into that challenge piece and go, yeah, I could fall, but I could fly, and I'm going to just take that risk.
And that's why I say changes, and the pandemic hit it right on the head. Change was hard at first. It was messy in the middle, but I think we're seeing the reward of it. And, actually seeing how this is coming together to truly benefit a lot of people. And again, it doesn't take away what happened to millions and millions of people across the country. It saddens and it hurts my heart every single day. But I just want us to figure out now, let's figure out a way for us to get back together. Let's figure out a way to continue the dialogue. Let's to put the negativity, aside, because we've had 2 years of consistent negativity. We've seen death every day on the headlines. Let's find a way that help the ones that are truly struggling to get to a place that they need to be. Let's help the ones who are fighting for additional education. Let's help get them retrained. Let's help the ones who are struggling for work. Let's find positions for them for work, and let's come together as families. The family unit was the perfect time, and still is the perfect time for us to bond and get strong as possible. So again, we can change generations to come.
Absolutely, Mark. And of course, we honor and respect all those who lost their lives, and business owners who lost their businesses. There's so many people who are truly and were suffering and struggling. And the rest of us, I feel like we're here for a reason. And that reason is to help other people.
I agree.
So thank you to both of you for everything that you do to help other people. And thank you for being part of this show today. It's been really wonderful learning and meeting you, Mark. I appreciate it. And I hope you'll come back and join us on this or any of our other 20 some shows. We've got lots of different options for you. So I'm going to spotlight you, Mark, and your banner obviously is up, but for people who can't read it or people who are listening on the radio, what's the best way for people to contact you, and who would you like to reach out to you?
They can reach me through my website. They can go to www.theprocessmarksmith.com, or they can send me an email at mark@theprocessmarksmith.com. Reach out to me if you have any questions, comments, and or concerns. You can actually hear any one of the process messages. You can go to Spotify, Anchor, iHeartRadio, all the major streaming platforms. They carry it. I actually have, I'm on 2 radio shows. I'm on WGLRO on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as star107fm.com on Saturdays at 10 a.m., sharing a message of the process. It's just so rewarding. It really is. It's so rewarding to have an opportunity to share the ability that we can and shall overcome different things and different obstacles in our lives. I always say it, change truly begins and ends within. We cannot get better. We cannot be better until we hold ourselves accountable to do better. So I encourage everybody to reach out to me. I would love to speak with you, dialogue with you, email back and forth. Then you catch me on social media, Mark V. Smith on Facebook, as well as Within Your Process on Instagram. So I wish everybody a safe and wonderful holiday. And always remember, as I say, your why is truly greater than your situation, which is part of your process.
Thank you so much, Mark. Wish you a beautiful holiday weekend, and please do come back and see us again.
I'll be honored. I'd be honored.
Fantastic. And while you're here, just for folks who are watching or listening, if you'd like to be on any of our shows, just go to our website, usaglobaltv.com. And up at the top, you'll see book your session. And you can scroll down and you'll see all the different shows that we offer. Some of the shows are by invitation only. And you're probably thinking, well, you're inviting me. Isn't that an invitation? Yes, it is. But some of the shows, the co-hosts already have their own lineup of people that they've promised or committed to. So any of the other shows, you're welcome. If you have a special event that you want us to spotlight, we can always create a new show, a one-time show, a major event to spotlight whatever it is you're doing. So I try to be as flexible as possible. Thank you again, Mark.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Bye.
It's so rewarding to do this, isn't it, Kim? We meet people like Mark who just have so much to share, so much wisdom and so many insights.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm grateful every day for my life. I kind of sometimes pinch myself going, really, I get to do this? I get to do this every day, where I get to listen to people's stories and people share such amazing insight. And Mark just shared so much value on how we can just reframe things to be able to change our outcome. And I would also like to say, on behalf of everybody listening as well, I'm sure, that we're really grateful to you, Dr. JACALYN, for having had the courage to keep going, to believe in your why and to live on your savings, but to not let it hold you back, and to create this platform and this community to allow us that chance to learn from each other and to share with each other and to give back. We are all extremely indebted to you.
Oh, well, thank you, Kim. I really appreciate it. It couldn't be this family that we have without people like you. So thank you for all of your contributions. And, you know, to Mark's point and to what we discussed, everything's not always rosy and beautiful and perfect. My computer, just to be totally transparent, you know, these computers here, that this is a big part of what I do. And a couple of days ago, I noticed this computer wasn't charging anymore. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? All these people counting on me, all these shows. So anyway, I went to the Apple store, and long story short, I couldn't have met two men who were more understanding, compassionate, fabulous, and they fixed whatever the issue was. And since then, I got a cold, and I woke up today and I thought, I can't be sick. There's no time to be sick. But my point is, we just keep going, and you put it in perspective, and you think, oh, we went through a pandemic, so you have a cold, so the battery's not charging. Little tiny minute things. There's always a solution, and we just have to look for the solution and not be so overwhelmed by these little obstacles, because they are opportunities. That's how I look at it. And things can't always be here, and when they're down here, that's an opportunity, because if it was like this all the time, we probably wouldn't appreciate it.
Absolutely. And, you know, if we think about things like a catapult has to be pulled back to go forwards. So I always think about that when I'm being pulled back, it's because I'm about to go forwards. And I love a quote, as you know. It reminds me of one, which is, obstacles are the things we see when we take our eye off the goal. And I think that's sometimes it. You know, when we stop looking at where we're going, we just see all the things that get in our way. And it totally resonates. As you know, I was panicking before we came live on this because we had a power cut, and I was desperately going, please, not now, not now. That's a power cut right at this minute. But it cleared up with a few minutes to go, and we were here. So I think sometimes we can get ourselves overwhelmed with what's happening right now, rather than thinking it is just a moment in time, and this too will pass. And I think if we can get ourselves out there, you know, if whatever's happening to you right now, reach out to somebody, ask for some help, ask somebody to just share, but trust that you will get through it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kim. And also, I think another thing, when I left my corporate career, I worked with a life coach, and I came up with 3 plans: plan A, B, and C. So this was in January. I retired in February, the last paycheck, March. Well, by the time the pandemic hit, I was on plan A, then it was B, then it was B plus minus whatever, close to C. And as I got closer to C and I see the bank account going, I said to myself, okay, you have 2 choices right now. You can go back to your career, you know, there or somewhere else, getting the 6 figures, but you weren't happy and you were always sick. You had 3 autoimmune diseases that were obviously related to the fact that you loved the paycheck, you loved the job, but it wasn't your passion, wasn't your calling. Or you can move forward. And in moving forward, what can you do so that this will work? Who can you contact? Who can you ask for help? What mentors are out there that would be willing to guide you? And they came to me. And that was really, that's what I was talking about before. There are people out there that we don't even know. But if we stay cooped up in our little small world and we don't know, it's not going to happen. Open heart. I like to stand for all my shows. I'm open. I like people to come to the platform, share what they have to share, because this can catapult them to the next level, because someone's going to be watching and might be at the right time. Maybe they're not watching on the live. Maybe they're watching on the replay 3 weeks later, but you have an opportunity to connect with people from around the world to help you, and so that you can help others.
I love that. And it's so true, isn't it? You just never know. And I think sometimes it's being brave, isn't it? It's reaching out to somebody. If you've got somebody you really wanted to reach out to, I did this the other week, and I sat and wrote the message, and I got a bit hot and sweaty, and I was like, what can I really do this? And I thought, what's the worst that can happen? I live on my own with my little girl, so unless I tell anybody I've done it, no one's going to know. So unless I tell anybody that I messaged this person that I aspire to be like, no one would know. So the worst that could happen is that they ignored me, and the likelihood is they weren't going to go and tell people if they ignored me anyway, because it might not put them in the best light. So I kind of hit the button and went for the best, but they got back in touch. And you're so right, Dr. Jackson. There's so many people out there that want to help. And if you think about it for yourself, when somebody asks for your help and you're able to help them, it feels good. You feel good because you were able to help them. So why would you deny somebody the opportunity to help you?
So true, Kim. And something else I also want to highlight, one of the big things that is really important to me in this platform is that people reach out and connect. I want people to reach out to you. I want them to reach out to Mark. I want to hear that you and Mark are doing something fabulous together. I think that that's what it's really all about. So it's all about collaborations and connecting. And thank you for being such a big part of this, Kim.
Oh, no, thank you for having me on the team. I love it, and I agree. We all just need to connect with each other, and together we'll be stronger, because you just never know. It might not be that person, but it might be somebody they know, and it might not be today. Dr. Jacqueline, to your point, it can be 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years down the line that you suddenly find the right person that you can connect them up with. But if we keep the dialogue open, if we keep coming at things from an open heart and with a view of how do I leave everything better than I found it, then we'll collectively all be much stronger.
Very true. And just one more thing I want to add to what you just said. Many times when we're going through something, we become desperate, panicked, like, I have to have the answer now. I need to speak to someone at this moment. I remember when I was going through my divorce, I was seeing a therapist, and sometimes just felt so, I've got to speak to this person right now, almost like that person was a crutch. And we do that to ourselves in life, but that doesn't mean that the answer isn't coming. That doesn't mean the solution will not present itself or the person will not appear. It might mean you have some more work to do before they get there because you're not quite ready yet. So I just want to remind people of that when you feel that sense of panic, just breathe and look at what the situation is and what it is that you can do to find a solution, knowing that it might not be coming right away, but it will come.
I love that. So eloquently put, as always.
Thank you. Kim, I'm going to spotlight you, and if you could give your contact information and who you would like to reach out to, and also share with folks how they can get involved in your platform and what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. So yeah, please do get in touch. I'd love to have a conversation with you. My passion in life is to hear other people's stories and to learn about their journey. So you can get in touch with me at kim@KIM-ADELE.com, or you can check out what we're doing on Authentic Achievements at www.AuthenticAchievements.com. And really what I'm interested in is hearing people's journeys. What got you here? And also, where do you want to get to? So what is your drive in life? If you could wave a magic wand and have the perfect life tomorrow, what would it be for you, for your business, for your people? And let's see how I can help.
Fantastic. And please do reach out to Kim on LinkedIn. And also you've got this great newsletter as well.
Yes, so we have a newsletter which this show appears in every week, and you can subscribe to that through AuthenticAchievements.com. And what we try and do is provide every single week 5 or 6 articles or shows or podcasts. We are privileged to do quite a lot of these and just share people's advice, tips, actionable things that you can do to help you get to where you want to go. And that's my big passion in life, is to try and leave things better than I found them, and to help share people's experiences to hopefully help others to get out of whatever's causing them pain.
And Kim, people can reach out to you through Authentic Achievements and you can interview them on your platform, yes?
Absolutely. So they can come on this show. We've got an Authentic Achievements show as well. We also do some work through Zondra TV and Roku and places. And I run 5 other shows for other people, which are available on C-Suite Radio and a variety of other things. So if you want to get your message heard, get in touch with me or get in touch with Dr. JACALYN, and we will do our best to help you get your message out to the world.
Thank you so much, Kim. It was lovely seeing you here today. And thank you for everything that you share all the time.
Bless you. And to you and to everybody, I wish you all a really lovely, peaceful holiday.
Thank you. Back at you. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much to each and every one of you who watch our shows and now people listening. I found out from our broadcast engineer, I shared this yesterday, that even though we launched on Saturday, we had, as of yesterday, 8 different countries listening to us on the radio. So here on the television platform, we continue to grow. We're adding new shows. In case you missed it, we had our first panel show. Our shows are typically interviews or our talking head experts who have their own shows and present for 30 minutes. But we're starting our panel shows. The first panel show we had was this Tuesday, and our panel from around the world came to discuss banning plastic, pro or con. And as a result of that show, we're going to be starting a new show about how we can work together to save our planet. So if you're interested in being part of that, do reach out to me. And how can you reach me? You can go to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and you can contact me through there, or you can email me. It's a long email address, but it's Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com. You may be wondering, now that we are on the radio, am I going to be rebranding and changing everything to USA Global TV and radio? The answer is not right now. It's not a priority because we have so many other things going on, but at some point we will. But it's just good to know that people who are not able to watch on television, wherever they are in the world, they can listen to us on the radio, and they can listen 24/7. So I just want to share a couple of other things. This is what I was alluding to earlier. This was our first panel discussion, and we're going to be having more of these. Our talking heads are experts from around the world who come and share their knowledge and their expertise in a 30-minute show. I open and close the show, but the rest of the show is them, and they're presenting their expertise. So you want to get to know these people, and you can learn more by going to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and look up Talking Heads. The last thing I want to mention is our reunion show is coming up. We're going to be closing out the registration for this next week. So we have a few spots left. If you're interested in promoting your work, your business, your service, your book, your poem, your film, please do join us. You'll get 15 minutes to present to our audience about the work that you're doing or the event that you have. So you can go over to Eventbrite. I'll be putting that link here so that you can go directly there, but you can go to Eventbrite or even our website, usaglobaltv.com, book your session. All right, they're all the announcements I have for right now. Thank you so much for watching. Our next show, The Power of Manners and Etiquette, is on hiatus for today because of the Good Friday holiday, so Philip Sykes has the day off. But do come back and join us for Authentic Achievements, which is taking place at noon today, Eastern Time, 5 p.m. British Summer Time, and then we have a regular schedule for the rest of the day. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful holiday. Take care.